Today I'd like to speak to you about the Mercury Mantra, or planetary astrology. If you've checked out my channel, you'll notice that I have quite a few mantras that have to do with the planets in the library there. Now, the reason why I have them there is because it's become very obvious to me that we are under the influence of an incredible amount of energies all the time. I mean, we know the moon affects the tides. It affects our hormones. And if you talk to any emergency room worker in a hospital, they'll tell you a full moon, they know exactly when it's happening because the place becomes a zoo. Policemen, same thing. So ultimately, there is an energy that comes through from each planet, from each place in the solar system and beyond that is coming through. And you could call it spiritual energy, really. But ultimately, there is some spiritual energy or some energies that we are in harmony with and some that we are not. And when you are working against an energy, there's conflict, there's a collision, and there's a type of suffering that you will experience from that collision. Just like in football. I mean, you have two football players coming together, there's going to be some bones breaking sometimes, or just a lot of pain. Now, I believe that this karma is called prarabdha karma, if you subscribe to the teachings in the East. It's the karma that you cannot get out of. It's the karma that you come in with. It's the type of lessons that you will learn, and the planets are here to teach you. They're bringing in certain types of situations, certain types of energy to help you realize who you are. Now, if you don't realize who you are from the inside, the outside will always teach you. So this is the great benefit of realizing who you are. The more you realize this on the inside, on the mental level, the heart level, and the physical level, the less obstacles you'll actually deal with on the outside, because those obstacles are no longer necessary for you to deal with or to learn from, because you've already learned what you need to learn. You've already become one with that force that's moving towards you. The Mercury Mantra is a very magical mantra. It helps you connect to the divine realms. That's one of the massive gifts that Mercury offers to you. The other thing that Mercury is associated with is travel, communication, smoothness of things. So I would say that the Mercury Mantra resonates a lot with the Ganesha energy. As far as Ganesha is known as the gatekeeper, or the holder of the keys to the doorways to the inner self. Ganesha removes blockages and so forth. And Mercury works in such the same way. Mercury assists you in your travel towards enlightenment. Esoterically, Namadeva described that Mercury was great with assisting you connecting to the divine realms. So the neat thing about this is there are beings and energies that you may become in resonance with over time with chanting this mantra. And it may be a total surprise to you, because some of the energies you will associate with have nothing to do with what your belief systems currently are. For instance, when I started chanting this mantra, over time, I started to encounter different experiences in meditation. And one of those experiences was an encounter with the Norse mythology, some of the Norse gods. So Odin actually appeared to me and gave me a gift, which I later learned that same gift is only associated with Odin. So there was an actual teaching in it that, that there is no such thing as just one belief or another. There are all sorts of different energies and different realms that are a part of this process. So you don't want to get too married to any one dogmatic form of thinking. You want to be open as much as you can. And that will allow these forces to come in to assist you in greater illumination. Mercury also helps you with the lungs and the eyes. It helps you with your prana, like your energetic body, so that you have the energy. From my own experience, I can say this. Mercury really assisted in my understanding of electronics and understanding of how to integrate communication in that form. I'm not a computer genius by any means, and I never have been, but I have to say that after I started chanting the Mercury Mantra, it really assisted in removing any blockages I had around working with technology. There are also realizations that Mercury will help you make faster. So there was an intense understanding of why it was so important to express whatever it was I needed to express, no matter what the outside resistance would be. So often in life you have something in your deeper self that you want to express, but your environment, your family, your friends, your society structure, they all resist that and say, don't do that, that's very inconvenient, don't express who you are, we won't like you for it. Mercury will help you find the center of that, will help you find the center of yourself and give you the courage to express that in the truest possible form. Mercury gave me a very high sense of self. Self is really truth. When you stick with the truth long enough, you will automatically fall into the self. The problem is most people don't see this result right away. They are truthful and then they experience some pain in their environment in regards to expressing of that truth, and then they stifle it immediately. And this halts or falters their progression towards the self, because the self is nothing more than absolute truth. There is nothing that is illusory there. It is truth by default. It's what's there no matter what. It is the immortal part of you. It's the part that has never changed. It's the part that always is the way it is, and there's no apology for it. So the only way to get there is to be as truthful as you can with what you're feeling, what you're expressing, and Mercury taught this to me. Mercury made it extremely obvious of how this worked. Mercury also helped me express in terms that other people understood. People could understand what I was saying, and I could express the concept I was trying to express in the proper words so that they could understand it. And it would depend on which person I'm in front of. That would depend on what language I used, but the language is always correct to whoever was hearing it. So Mercury assists with this. And Mercury will help you with finding the correct language for your audience. If you know anything about astrology, Mercury retrograde is responsible for a whole bunch of catastrophes in our lives. Most likely your computer will crash during that time. You'll have a computer virus of some sort. Your schedules won't line up. You'll have appointments, they'll get missed, people will misunderstand. There's miscommunications, there's arguments that come from that. There is all sorts of travel complications. Because Mercury is the traveler of the deities. It's the traveler of the energies of the universe. Mercury is the expert connector, the expert communicator, which is why, electronics have to do with circuit boards and energy running through. This is why Mercury influences those so strongly. So if you are traveling a lot or have the urge to, Mercury is a great mantra to chant to help ease your travels, to help you get those connecting flights, to help you catch the bus on time, to help you understand the nature of time, the nature of timing. That's Mercury. But the most magical thing I found with Mercury is that it helped me understand how my mind was helping me ignore the truth of my heart. You see, Mercury helps with intelligence through the circuits of the brain and helps them wire themselves in a way that is very efficient. So you could also say Mercury would assist in finding solutions to afflictions such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Maybe MS, maybe where the immune system or the nervous system is not aligning properly. So with that, I'll teach you the Mercury Mantra. Now there are more than one form of many of the astrological mantras I teach. I prefer to teach you the long form because that's the form I used and it was the form I experienced the most benefit. I did chant the shorter mantras for a number of the planets, but and I'm sure they were effective on some level, but it seems like the longer ones were more effective for me. So I'll introduce you to both forms of the mantra. The short form is Om Buddhaya Namaha, Om Buddhaya Namaha, Om Buddhaya Namaha. And another form of this would be Om Shri Buddhaya Namaha, Om Shri Buddhaya Namaha, Om Shri Buddhaya Namaha. You can try those mantras out. And this is the longer form. And like I said, the longer form seems to be more effective in a lot of ways. I do believe even if you timed the amount of time chanted with a short mantra or a long one, I do believe that the long one would give you a greater benefit. So, but I would ask you to try this as an experiment for yourself. Don't just trust my word on it, because like I said, your inner guru may be leading you in many different ways, and it's not my job to get in the way of that. So, so here's the long form of the Mercury Mantra. I will chant it 108 times, because 108 times is how many times you are supposed to chant a mantra a day. Usually you chant it 108 times in the morning and 108 times at night. If you chant less than this, you've basically not received the full benefit of that. Yeah. So, okay. Om Brahm Brim Brahm Sa Buddhaya Namaha. 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 Om Brahm Brim Brahm Brahm Sa Buddhaya Namaha. Om Brahm Brim 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 Brahm Sa Buddhaya Namaha. Great. Well, thanks for listening. If you chant this mantra regularly, you will notice that your life gets a little easier.